Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another Linked Up podcast. We have our co-host, Gummy, and we have our special guest today,
Yay!
Tati, an actress, a dancer. You are a freaking black belt.
Yes.
And you're a social media star.
Yeah,
Nice.
I guess.
Like, what don't you do?
You're the full package.
Honestly, I've been trying to figure out actually what I can do because I keep trying new stuff every month lately.
No, literally-
I love that. Yeah.
No, literally. So, let's get started in this and how you began everything, how you began your career, because you're doing a lot of things right now.
Yeah.
And by the way, everyone listening in, this is her first podcast.
My first podcast.
This is
guys.
crazy.
Let's do it.
So tell me about how you started into the acting career and all that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I grew up, I became a professional dancer at the age of 8 years old, which sounds probably unrealistic to most people, but that was just my life. You know, I got thrown into it and I absolutely loved it. I loved being in the industry, and as I got older, I realized dance is something I love, but it's not necessarily what I want to do career-wise.
Right.
So then I started to throw myself into the acting world. I graduated high school early, and
smart too.
Yeah, I graduated high school early so I could do college for a year online. And then I told my parents, instead of paying to go to college, it wasn't necessarily my thing.
Right.
I want to do acting classes.
I love that. What
Yeah.
was your parents' reaction?
Honestly, they've always been very supportive. They've kind of understood, my dad grew up in the industry, professional bodybuilder. He's a legend. So
Oh shit!
Oh,
Really?
that's where you get it from.
yeah, he wasn't necessarily like, oh my God, you have to go to school, but he totally understood, his career path also didn't lead him to college, and he didn't, some people got it like that, and some people, it just wasn't for me. So I told them I want to put my money, my time into acting, and I did. I did that for about a year or two. I landed my lead role in the first movie that I filmed.
What was the movie?
It was called The Lies I Tell Myself. It has yet to come out.
Oh, it's
because
really?
acting world is very, things money-wise, productions, don't put it out there. But it was my first real experience and my first wow, I freaking love this. I want to do this. I want to work hard. What's next?
Amazing.
So then right when I turned 18, I auditioned. I actually spent my 18th birthday in Puerto Rico.
Woo!
It was so fun. And on my flight home, I got an audition. And it was like HBO Max show, films in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
And I was like,
that's a sign.
I was like, what are the odds? Because I've never gotten anything that films in Puerto Rico, and I just visited.
Yeah.
So the minute I got home, I auditioned, and a week later, I got the call that I was about to be on a flight back to Puerto Rico.
So cool.
Is this your show, Gordita? Is this your show, Gordita Chronicles?
Yep, that's when I auditioned
As
for
you played
Gordita
Danny,
Chronicles.
yes.
Amazing.
So how did you feel when you first landed that?
Oh my God, it was like a dream come true. Just getting that call, first of all, and I feel like it was almost a manifestation, and I'm a big believer in that.
Yes.
We're all
was
manifestors here.
100%. And during my birthday trip, I was actually walking down with my boyfriend and my parents, and I was looking at these buildings, and he was like, I wonder who lives in these big buildings. And I was like, probably actors, actresses who are filming out here, need to live out here for a couple months. So he was like, wow, how cool would it be if you got to do that?
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, that's a big goal of mine. And then 3 weeks later, we were walking down that same street, and we looked at each other, and we were like,
that's crazy.
damn.
What?
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wait, so what happened?
I mean, just the fact that, we were out there on vacation for my birthday, and then I booked it, and I was out there filming for about 2 to 3 months. And just because I landed on the same street that I was on vacation on.
Wow.
And I was literally living there filming a big show, my first big role.
Yeah.
And just the fact that happened, and we were in the same place. And before it was a dream.
Yeah.
And then I was living it.
It sounds like you had a very supportive partner and
100%.
an environment, your family.
Yes.
How important is that to you?
I think that honestly it's key. The people you surround yourself with,
100%.
the mindset you're in at the time. I mean, you can't really succeed if you don't have the mindset that you're going to succeed.
Exactly.
Or you're not putting in the hard work, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So when you're very much surrounded by that and you're comfortable but not too comfortable. I hate being too comfortable because then it's almost like, oh, I'm good where I'm at. But no, I was
you can't settle for less. So like tying in back into the season 1, you obviously had a great success off of that and had a fun time. And so my question is, why wasn't there a season 2?
Okay, so the answer to that, which we just got informed of recently, you know how HBO Max is like, Euphoria's on it, and it's a lot of shows. It's not necessarily like a family friendly, like not family friendly, but they basically had to cut a few family shows because of the fact that also like kids are scrolling and you're watching our show and then they scroll and it's Euphoria and it's like probably not something.
It doesn't make sense.
Right. It wasn't the right outlet.
Right.
Yeah.
So unfortunately HBO Max, we won't be doing a season 2, but you know, in the future, some other
is that discouraging because you put in so much time and effort into season 1 and then for them to say that you're not going to get a season 2, I mean, are you guys trying to pitch it to other networks? I
mean, definitely I believe, you know, our creators are, but however, it's not necessarily discouraging because like we put our story out there and all of us worked our booties off on that show and it was a lot of long days, long nights, and just the fact that we created like a family bond out of it, and I feel like people really love the story and maybe it won't continue, but it's almost like you get to like continue it with your imagination, like what's next, you know what I mean? And that happens with some shows, but now, you know, I love that show and it will always be a part of me, and all it did was help me to be able to be like, what's next? Now I'm ready. I want to keep going.
So exciting, especially because a lot of people think like setbacks, they're like, oh wow, like that's the end of the world. But for you, it seems like you're more like, like more curious and intrigued of what's 100%. Gonna be coming next, and also how you mentioned it aligns with something better, especially if you set your intentions and manifest. I mean, 100%. I'm super excited about what you're manifesting right now.
Thank you.
So what did you get out of the show? Like you learned experience, but did your numbers start to grow on social media? Like what was that like? Like obviously everyone goes on a show and they go on HBO Max and they get all these numbers, but it's about how you keep those supporters around you after the fact. So 100%. What was your strategy? Did you have a game plan? Because you knew you were going to gain, you know, a fan base, obviously. So like, what were your thoughts?
I mean, honestly, I think the biggest thing right now is it's almost like a balance, because every day in life you're gonna lose some, you're gonna win some. It's gonna go like this, you know what I mean? And I knew hopping into the acting world, maybe I wouldn't necessarily keep a lot of my dance following, because I'm also not. When I was younger, I was posting dance videos every day, and that was my life, and that was like what everybody wanted to see. So I understood maybe people that followed me back then weren't necessarily going to want to follow me now. Like, oh, well, I wanted to see her dance. I didn't want to see her.
It must be confusing to people from 100%. Going to a dancer to 100%. An actress. Yes. And you're like, but do you plan to go on any movies where you're dancing in?
Oh, 100%. And that's been my biggest thing. You know, I didn't necessarily want to be known as just Tatiana McQuay, the dancer. I wanted to be known like, you know, someone like a J-Lo, who you're gonna see J-Lo. You know who J-Lo is because she's an amazing artist. She's also dancing on all her shows because she started off as a dancer, and you've probably seen her in movies because she acts, and that's exactly what I want to do.
And she's a great singer.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Do you have another role model that you look up to?
Selena.
Oh, definitely
Tell
Selena.
us about Selena.
I love Selena. You know, I am Mexican and my mom grew up around that. But I would say my biggest role model is my mom. And that's someone that
I love that.
I genuinely looked up to, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because you can watch somebody on a screen, but you don't really know someone like you know your mom, and knowing a person so well inside and out.
Retweet that right now. Retweet that.
And that's common in social media world.
Yeah,
where you, like,
I mean, you know, my mom actually was like, she's always been my momager, but you know, as I got older, we had to step back and
can you explain to everyone what a momager is, quote unquote?
Okay, so I mean, especially when you're younger, your mom runs your Instagram and she runs basically everything, and my mom really knew how to do it well. You know, we're very much alike. She's very like social and knew how to run stuff for me, and she did an amazing job. You know, got me basically to where I am, got me the following, just because, you know, she was very excited to post all my dance videos and knew people would love watching me. Maybe as a little girl, I didn't process that.
Yeah.
But my mom understood it, and she's like, I'm going to make sure everyone knows my daughter's talented. I'm going to make sure my daughter's working. And she helped me. And, you know, as I got older, because of all the help I got from her, I knew how to do it on my own. And I was like, Mom, now we have to separate the momager and the mom, because now we need that real relationship. And I have younger siblings, and I want her to focus on them and them be the next, you know, follow my footsteps, and she knows how to do that.
How was that transition though, when you guys like kind of split up, because you guys worked together for so long, and now you want to build a real relationship and just say, you know, stop talking about the business stuff, and let's have like a real connection.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's definitely different, but I must say it's gotten a lot better.
Do you think your relationship with your mom is better after you guys split?
100%, yeah. Okay. Because also as a little girl, you're not really processing, oh, my mom's doing what's right for me. Yeah. You're thinking like, oh my God, my mom just has me working day in, day out. Yeah. But then when you get to this age, it's like, oh my gosh, I really wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for her doing that. Yeah. And I don't regret it at all, and I don't see it the way I saw it as a, you know, mature kid. And now that I'm older, I'm like, wow, I really couldn't have done it without her. And now it's like, now I want to be the mom she is, and I want to do that one day for my kids. That. And I think that's the most special thing, and people around me recognize that, like, you're gonna be a good mom because of the way your mom is to you. And I love
how you give so much credit to your mom.
Oh, 100%.
I feel like we need to bring her on.
No, literally. I mean, she's also my best friend. Even my dad, like, my dad's been so supportive. Really couldn't do anything without him, and the support he's given to me, my mom, and my brothers.
Have you had any ups and downs with your mom or dad?
I mean, yeah. I feel like we're all gonna have that, especially going through our teen years, and you know, I mean, if a family in general is perfect, I think it's a little weird.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you're still going to have your own issues, and that's a big part of, like, you know, life goes on beyond social media. We have our issues, you know, and you get through them. And in the end of the day, I've always remembered whatever issues we have, you know, people come and go, but my family's forever. And that's all I really got.
I love that.
That's beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah. How do you stay grounded? It sounds like, you know, you have so many success going on. You have a lot of these activities. You have a very active lifestyle. Yeah. I mean, I asked you, what do you do for fun? You're like, wait, when do I have time for that?
Literally, I was like, wait, I don't even know what I do for fun. But I would honestly say, like, just remembering who you are, but not necessarily like who you are in the moment, but when it goes back to like where you grew up, and like, you know, like the difference between the little town that I grew up in Canada compared to now, like living this big life in LA.
Exactly.
Like, just, you know, every time I'm like driving by myself, looking at the palm trees, looking at the traffic, going down Melrose, and I'm just like, wow, this is my life. But as a little girl, like, I literally was a little girl in a small town, had a little picture that I drew. I literally drew myself in a stroller. I was like 4 years old, drew a stroller, a little baby, which was me, and I said, one day I will be in Hollywood.
Wow.
What?
And I mean, that goes to the beginning of a manifestation.
That's crazy.
However, whenever I'm feeling like, you know, you have your moments, and I think it's good to feel like, oh my God, I am her right now, or oh my God, you know, I'm killing it.
100%,
and those moments are important, but then the more important moments are when I go back to that little picture and I'm like, I dreamed of being here right now. I dreamed of doing everything I'm doing, and you know what? There's probably a little girl out there dreaming to do this right now. And then you think about how many of those little girls are actually watching you online. And I think that's what brings me back to it, and just remembering that I'm a normal person in the end of the day. And
exactly.
I love how you keep it real. Like, she's real.
She's Tati. That's the 100%. One thing. The biggest takeaway from you that I've known since I've known you is you keep it real and authentic, and you don't get mixed up in LA and you know what's going on with everything, and you have a small circle, and you don't just like let anyone in. And so let's move forward with like social media, because after this movie you started to gain followers, obviously, and create this career that you already had, and you just got more successful off of it. But then you got into social media, like more of the social media side of things. And so like, let's be real right now. We're talking about being real.
Yeah.
You know, I'm an influencer, you're an influencer, and we're here all, you know, learning off of each other and everyone watching right now. Because our audience is from both sides, you know, from the entrepreneur side to the social media side, all that stuff. So, like, what is it that makes you fond of, like, makes you want to do social media? Like, is it the content that you create? Is it, I think, I'm gonna think right now. Yeah. I'm gonna take away that the reason why you do social media is to impact these younger kids that may look up to you, that they do look up to you, and you know, they're these little girls, you know, they could, you know, guys too, and they just, you want to create a sense of like, you could do it too.
Oh, 100%.
Even though, you know, it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter, you know, what environment you're in. You create the environment. You manifest that, because
100%.
it's all of the energy that you put it in. And if you have faith in yourself, obviously you're going to go somewhere.
100%. I think that's the most important part is, you know, the hardest part with social media these days, and the way I've always looked at it, is you open your phone and, you know, I think about these 10-year-old, you know, I have little siblings too.
Yeah.
Younger brothers, 9 and 11, who are on TikTok or on Instagram, and they open up their phone and it's like, especially for girls, you look at, you know, these Instagram models and they have these Louis bags and these Chanel shoes, and like, that's life. And
which is
like,
not realistic
which is not
at all.
Which is not real life. And my biggest thing with social media is I love it. I love doing it. But in the end of the day, to me, social media is not real life. To me, social media is a resume, and it's a way to connect with people, and it's amazing. But, you know, I've always been the type to, I know there's a lot of people that are like, oh, it's real to sit there and like cry on social media and show your bad, your good days. But it's like, who are you really showing it to? And in the end of the day, you can have all these people in the world following you, these fans, but it's like, even if you're really showing that, it comes down to the slightest part of like, do people really care, or are people sitting there being like, oh my God, I'm so sorry? But is like, you have to almost think to yourself, what really matters to me?
Yeah.
What really matters to me? But there's also times where it's like, to be real enough to show people that you go through real life struggles and you go through like real life everyday things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have to like find this balance as an influencer of like, what's going to genuinely affect me, but also what's going to affect other people in a supportive way, not in a, oh my God, this day's ruined, your day should be ruined too.
Yeah, it's all about balance.
And I feel like when you're sitting there crying or showing like your worst days, it makes people feel like, oh my God, like days suck. You know what I mean? But there's better ways of doing it, and I'm more of the positive. Like, I love quotes. I love posting these things of like, even if I'm not doing good right now, I'm gonna be good. And I feel like that's the most important part of social media.
To not be okay.
Right. It's okay to not be okay, but it's also about like teaching each other, like uplifting each other. Because even just in general, when you're down and someone else is down, you're both just gonna bring each other down.
You know what's the best thing is when, you know, I get messages on my DMs and they're like, thank you so much, you've helped me just from your content, just from like your live streams, just like being you on social media.
It feels so good.
It feels like when I see those, I'm like, wow, this is my purpose on why I'm doing all of this.
100%.
Because like, I'm here to impact the world, and I feel like we all are. I feel like we all are.
Oh yeah. And it's, you know, it's so important, like I said, going back to like you wake up and you go on Instagram, it's like the Louis bags. It's like, no, that's not like reality. Like, all of us come, even if those girls are posting with those bags, all of us came from nothing. We were babies. You know, we did not wake up one day. I mean, surely I didn't wake up as a baby and have a Louis Vuitton bag in my hand. But, you know, sometimes it happens, and that's amazing. But a lot of us, like, work for that, too. And I think that's so important for kids that watch us. And it's like, even when we post our nice things, it's like, to me, it's like, don't forget that we were one day nowhere, too. And we, you know, we built up to this. And I believe just in the world, anybody can. I don't think there's not one person that can't be where they want to be. And like I said, it all goes back to a mindset thing. If you put your mindset, you will be there one day. And I feel like that's so important and something people get discouraged about. Like, they look online and they're like, oh, I can't do that, or I can't be there. And it's like, no, you can.
Exactly.
You just got to do it.
And I love how you talk about mindset. I mean, there's two things I wanted to ask you. You mentioned like social media as like a resume. That's something new that I've heard, especially since you're both are content creators. I'm sure like you look at social media like in a different lens than every other person. So what does it mean to like build a brand? Like what is the brand that you build on your social media? And then also like why is that mental like mind health so important to you?
Yeah.
And do you talk about that in your social media? And is that part of your brand?
Yeah. I mean, definitely, you know, the reason I say resume is because a lot of people are watching you and you don't know who's watching you. And that's why I say like that I think anybody can do it, because in the end of the day, it's like you're paving your road with your social media, you know, like if you want to do the acting, start posting acting stuff, because you never know what directors are going to hop on your Instagram and be like, hey, would love to see you come in and audition for this role. And you just did that for yourself because that's how you branded yourself.
It's true, because actually I interviewed an artist, Corey Van Leeuw, and he got a DM and now and then he got into a project at Pixar.
Exactly, you see,
like,
and that's amazing.
Yeah, like
freaking
even we see artists on TikTok, they're blowing up. You see 24 Karat Golden, he's like huge now because of TikTok.
From his song blowing up, exactly. Even that first movie that I did, they DM'd me. And they were like, hey, and you know what? Even though I was like posting dance vids at the time, they were like, hey, would love for you to be the lead role in our movie. Could you read? And I was like, oh, is she like a dancer? They were like, no, she's an actress, like just straight acting, normal girl, but you just look like you would fit the role. And you know how you post, how you're very real on social media. We feel like we know you. And I was like, okay, well, I would love, this is actually what I'm trying to do. So I would love to do it. And that's what I mean, you know, just posting yourself, even if it's not like, it's the simplest things. Like sometimes I'll post like what I'm eating. I love posting spicy tuna crispy rice, and then crispy rice DM'd me. You know what I mean? It's just the little things that are very authentic to you.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't have to be what everyone else wants to see. Yeah. You just have to post what you want to post and what's real to you, and the right people will attract. And I think that's the most important part. And branding myself, I mean, I love social media. There's downs to it, but the ups are like, you know, look how many people I've gotten to meet.
Exactly.
Look how many cool brands that I've wanted to work with, I got to work with. And like...
Wait, can you share a little bit more about the brands that you got to work with? I mean, you mentioned crispy rice, which sounds amazing. But what are some like moments where you're like, what? I just got a brand deal from XYZ.
Oh yeah. I mean, oh my God. That's so hard to think of like off the top of my head.
What do you think the one that was, you secured it and you were like, whoa.
You're like, I made it.
I'm like trying to think. There's been so many. I mean, not necessarily even brands, but the one time like I got asked to do something, I was younger, like 14, 15, and I got asked by It's Me to We. They're like a brand on Instagram, but not necessarily like a brand. They're also like foundation, like they do all this stuff. And they asked me to take a trip to Kenya and help build a school. And like to me, that was like, wow, what? Like as a 15-year-old, I'm like, what?
Yeah,
like,
that sounds incredible.
I get to go to Kenya and build a school, like help do that. And they were like, yes, like, you know, they love your dance videos. They would love for you to teach dance classes. And, you know, that to me was the most like mind-blowing experience. Like getting to go to a country that I've never been to, learn, you know, their culture, meet the people. And it was one of the most beautiful experiences. Wow. It literally, like, you walk around and there's animals, like giraffes, like just everything. And it seems like you're in a movie, you know? Wow. And that's the type of stuff that I get to experience that I, you know, personally, it's more beautiful than just be on social media. It's like I got to experience that with my own eyes, and I will remember that for the rest of my life. And it's moments like that and, you know, things I get asked to do like that are the most important to me. And I got to take my mom in that too, so.
Aww,
that's nice.
That was fun. I love that.
And so tying it back to social media and, you know, the people that were around, the people that you meet, obviously some people, you know, also having like the experience on social media. I mean, Gummy, you could kind of see a sense too on if you look at creators on social media and you meet them in person, they're literally two different people.
Right.
So like.
Yeah, like when I first met Chris, it was like a completely like just like different experience. And then when he showed me his TikTok, I'm like, wait, is this the same person?
Yeah, like it's kind of hard because I branded myself as like acting on TikTok, and you meet me in person, I'm like acting.
Just a normal guy.
I'm just a normal guy, and I'm like really chill, and
Super
on social
chill.
media I'm like a lot of energy. So have you met like people that, you know, they look totally different on social media, but in person they are literally the opposite? But here's the thing is that let's get some tea. When creators talk about mental health, they talk about you know, all these inspirational things, and you meet them in person, they're nothing like that. And there are people that do that, and I don't know if you met some of those people, but like I think it's very important to be real, like you're saying, being real on social media.
100%.
And I just don't get it. If you preach all this stuff on social media, but in person you're not even being realistic to yourself on social media, then how are you portraying anything? That's just being
100%.
fake.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I could go in this conversation for hours. But, you know, going back, especially to like the mental health awareness and everything going on right now in social media, I think it is really something. I sit back and I'm like, wow, all these people make all these posts and how, you know, they're sorry for people and how they want to make it better. But to me, it's like, what are you guys really doing? What, you know, making a post is amazing, and, you know, a lot of people see it, but how are you changing the world by doing that?
That's what
you know
I'm saying.
What I mean?
Is that I really don't care, me personally, being in rooms with people with millions of followers and money. All I care about is what are they doing with that to 100%. Actually create impact in the world and bring value. Because
and actually, to tie into that, I'm an ambassador and just started to help one of my best friends, Talia Jackson, on a mental health awareness like foundation, and it's called Beautiful Minds. And the other night, it wasn't really something we had to like post all over about, but I did share a post to show that I got to be there and I really enjoyed it, and we helped give back at the Boys and Girls Club for their like Thanksgiving.
I used to go to the Boys and Girls Club back home. I used to go there we had the foundation, different foundations, but for Boys and Girls Club, and like every Christmas, like they would bring in like
help like do
Christmas
presents and give back.
And like it was dope. I used to be there every day.
And you know, it was so cool because like getting to do that and like volunteer is one thing, but when you have a lot of the kids recognize you and they're like, you know, came up to us and wanted to take pictures and know who we were like, wow, this is why we do what we do. And you know, it's, you know, anyone could go there and volunteer, and I think everyone should. I think it's such an important thing to volunteer for foundations, but also as influencers, I feel like that's so much more important because that's our job. You know, this is a career, it's a job, and that's something we should be doing other than just posting online. You know, awareness is great, but doing something about it is even greater.
I think influencers don't realize how much of an impact that they can make.
Yes.
So your message that you put out to the world could be really positive and
100%.
life-changing, or it could have another effect.
100%.
And so I think it's important for content creators to be mindful of the effect and the messaging that they're sending out. If your messaging is, this is all like, you know, Louis Vuitton bags and like waking up to like a perfect face, like all makeup
100%.
done, like I don't know. I see these I see some of these videos. It's like, oh, like morning routine, and I'm just like, wait, your hair and like face is like perfect, your eyebrows and everything. And I'm like, this is so unrealistic, and it almost makes the other person on the other side watching like, wait, is my life, there's something wrong?
Right.
But on the opposite end, you could create so much impact by showing how you can make mental health and like something real, and it's not something like where it's all of these crazy people are suffering from mental health. It's like everyday people. Like it is like personal hygiene. Like, I mean, to take
honestly,
care of your brain.
I believe all us humans deal with mental health every day.
Absolutely. Everyone who has a brain.
Everyone. And I think some more than others. And I think that's something we should start focusing on instead of like pushing it to the side necessarily.
Right.
And I feel like, you know, just situations I've dealt with even recently, not a lot gets shown on social media. There's so much behind closed doors. And, you know, it becomes one of those situations where it's like, I don't know, I just feel like a lot of people who are just following us influencers, they necessarily see one side of things. And as you know, especially little kids, they just kind of hop on the bandwagon and, oh, he said, she said, or, oh, this is how it should be done. And it's like, it's not necessarily an opinion thing anymore.
Yeah.
It's just whatever the biggest influencer said, I'm going to go with.
Social media gets really toxic, like behind the scenes, and you know, people with large followings, like these kids see these people, you know, if this X person is saying something about this other person behind their back,
and they just kind of go with it.
They just go with it, and it's like, wait, hold on, why are you asking questions? Like, stop like believing everything that these creators say, especially if they have huge influencers. These influencers should be like, you know, trying to make things better, like trying to make it more positive. And then
it becomes like an attack on a person.
Exactly.
And like all these kids saying, like, they say some hurtful comments like, go kill yourself. And I'm like, what? But we're talking about mental health. Yeah. How are you going to tell somebody as an influencer, just because, you know, they're sitting here and maybe they seem higher to you, they're not. They're a normal person. So when you're saying those hurtful comments to us influencers, like, that affects us just as much as it would hurt you know what I mean?
And I think there's also a lack of filter when you're like behind closed door, you're behind a phone. It's not like, you know, I
like those people would never say it to your face.
Yes.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I think it's important to realize that because like, you know, these kids would never, ever say that to anyone's face. And it's like, what do you mean? Like what influencers have like a wall of us, like we can't get hurt. Like
that's what it seems like. So like in real world, like, oh, she's an influencer. It's like, what does that mean? Like, am I not a person? Am I just an influencer to you? Like, am I a mannequin? You know what I mean?
Robot.
But like, literally. So it's like, I feel like that's the most important part that people should focus on is that everyone's human. And, you know, we see the supporters just as much as they see us. Yeah. And I feel like maybe it's hard because we don't get to talk to everyone individually, but we see everyone. And, you know, it touches us just as much as it might touch them.
I love that. So what is that one advice that you want to give to that girl? I mean, we talked about the power of manifestation, which we've seen through your world and through your life, how it unfolded. Yes. Now, what is that one advice that you would give to those that are watching behind this? Yeah,
I mean, my advice to absolutely anyone, no matter how old you are, is get up and do it because no one's going to do it for you.
Oh my God.
I feel like that's so important and something people don't really, you know, take into depth. And it's something I've had to learn. You know, you're going to have friends, you're going to have people around you, but no matter how close you are, no matter how much they'll make you, you know, really feel like they want you to win, which maybe some of them do. But in the end of the day, like, people can't make things happen for you. You really have to make it happen for yourself. And if it's something you want to do, I think you need to like do it and do it now.
Do it now.
Don't wait for it. Do it right now.
I love that. Live in the moment, be present, make it happen, put the action. A lot of people, I feel like they dream about it, they think about it, and they don't like
waste time.
They waste time. But the power of manifestations actually, it's not just thinking about it and wanting something, it's actually doing it. It's actually believing that it's going to happen, believing that you're going to make it happen, and aligning your actions and your thoughts and your like words so that it matches and aligns.
Oh yeah, and to me it's like, we only live once. What is stopping you?
That's what I try and tell everyone right now. Like, I want to be a mentor to people. That's my goal, is just to like, I want to be that person where people like look up to, because I'm being real, and I feel like you know, all of us are great mentors to people and in our specific skills. And so I'm like, everyone can bring value to the world.
Oh, 100%.
And like,
I mean, we're all really here for a reason.
Exactly. You know, like, why are we all together right now? You know, so there, you know, there's a purpose to everything, and tying in and ending with like, you know, social media and everything. Like, have you had any downfalls with people? Has there any been, you know?
I mean, you'll have your best friends turn on you. I'll tell you that. That's one thing I had to learn. You'll have your best friends be the person you thought they would never be. And, you know, with social media, that's been a big part of my life recently and just past few years, you know, ever since I was younger. And a lot gets taken to social media. And I'm the type where it's like, I don't want to argue with a person through social media, you know. You have my phone number.
Why do they do that?
I don't really know, but it's like, And it's like they try to almost ruin your image.
Wow.
But that's why I've always like learned to just stay true to myself and not necessarily be where another person is at in life, and just be where I'm at in life.
Yeah, don't go on that level, right?
Yeah, exactly. Don't go on that level. And it's, I gotta admit, it affects you. It affects you when a person you thought was so close to you could do something, you know, you thought they would never done, or maybe something you talked about with each other. But then I realized, like, oh, I'm living on social media. This could have happened in high school.
Exactly.
This could have happened, you know, anywhere, and it happens to people every day. But you have to realize that, like, people come and go, but you're all you got. So be true to you. And
do you think you have a wall up now?
Oh, 100%. I definitely have a wall up, and I've learned to love myself a lot more.
I love that.
Because it's like I said, the doing it instead of expecting people to do it for you, you have to also, in, you know, that sense, like, love yourself instead of expecting everyone else to do it for you or everyone else to support you. It's like, you really have to be your number one fan, because if these people are coming and going, it's cool, it may affect you here and there, but you're only gonna, like, fall or break if you didn't really have yourself. And you have to have it, so no matter who comes and goes, you're still solid.
That's so powerful, and that really relates. Like, it hits home for me.
Yeah.
Especially because, you know, I feel like as a woman, you're often kind of trained to think about other people.
Right.
And if you're like the oldest sibling and you have a younger sibling, you're like, you always have to like take care of other people.
100%.
And like being like the nurturer. But now it's like thinking about love yourself first and how powerful that is. And it's, you know, I want this to be a reminder to everyone that take a moment to really reflect, like, how much are you building for yourself versus how much are you building for what you
others.
think is others.
I think one thing I really did learn was I may be a good person and have the mindset I have, but I can't expect other people to think or feel the same way as me. And
that's such a hard lesson.
That it is a hard lesson, but mind you, it's been one of, like, some of the hardest lessons are some of the, like, biggest blessings, especially in this industry, and especially in,
love that.
I say in this industry, but I also think everything I believe in is in life in general. Yeah. Because whatever I've gone through, and I go through, like, another issue or whatever it is, it almost, like, ties into each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I have this whole, like, mentality of we all go through the same thing in life, but in a different time in our lives, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow, I never thought about that.
Something you've gone through as a kid, I may go through it when I'm 80 years old.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll never understand it, but one day I will. Or something, you know, vice versa. And it's like, but then you meet people who, like, oh my God, we've gone through the same thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
Because you guys already went through that.
I didn't think about that.
And I just believe that, you know, because we're all human, that's how it works. And that's why you understand people more than you understand others, and vice versa. And that's just something you really have to, like, sit back and think about.
Damn, that's deep.
Amazing.
That's deep. And so moving forward, you're a businesswoman.
Yeah.
You definitely are business savvy.
Yeah.
And so, let's talk about NFTs.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know anything about NFTs, but do you know anything about Web3? Are you curious about Web3? How do you want to get into it?
I mean, I definitely am curious and want to get into it. I feel like
go.
learning about the future now is important.
Why do you think Web3 is the future?
I mean, I think honestly, with everything going on, I mean, even just like one day I feel like we're going to be cashless, and like that's where our money is going to sit, and like just investing in your life and career now is important.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know enough about the Web3, but definitely just like NFTs.
Do you own an NFT?
I do with After Party.
Nice.
Oh, you do it after party. So
Yes.
what was your thoughts on that? So, you know, we all know the process of after party and how you get gifted one.
Yeah.
You were there, right? When you walked
Yes.
out and they played the music, you got an NFT.
Yes.
So
I mean, I literally like signed with Lamont and then just got to learn about all these cool like things. He brought me to After Party, got me an NFT, and that was super fun. I think that's a super cool like world. It feels like a different world.
Absolutely.
It's totally different. And
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to elaborate on a little bit about, you know, NFTs and the technology on how it's changing the world, like.
I mean, I love how you said that, you know, the future is going to be cashless, like look at the way we interact at like dinner. So like let's say you're hanging out with friends and then the bill comes. Like no one's really like taking out cash, counting those like coins. Like how many of us have coins in our pockets? Like
I don't even carry cash.
And then you Venmo. So like that's the thing. It's another way. It's like technology is another way of like it's transactions.
Yes.
And what's really cool about the blockchain is now everything gets to be minted, everything is transparent, and everything can be tracked.
What do you mean by minted?
When we talk about like minted means putting it on the blockchain. It's a process of minting, which is like, think about like you're minting something and it just means you're putting it onto the blockchain. So you getting an NFT, make sure you also transfer it to your wallet. Yeah. And don't just leave it on an exchange because we all know what happens, right?
FTX.
Like you can't rely on that. But it's amazing how influencers like like the everyday, you're really showing that everyday people can get into Web3, especially because Web3 has this image of you being a crypto like finance guy or tech guy, but it's really everybody should be adopting this technology that could potentially help. Yeah. And I love that you're getting into you're getting into Web3 and NFTs. It's really exciting. Yeah. And
just to keep it very simple on like people keep saying NFTs, but let's just keep it very simple to everyone, now moving forward. Like it's just a digital asset, a digital collectible. It's not like we're not saying let's like when the internet came out like JavaScript, like we're not saying all that. Like NFT was just the name that just became popularized and normalized into society.
Made into a meme.
And made into a meme and stuff.
So many memes.
And so like just a digital asset. So, Matt Medved, I keep saying this, like we are the last generation to grow up with non-digital assets. Yeah. And so like moving forward,
that's like weird to think about.
It's scary. It's scary because you're talking about these little girls, they wake up and they go on Instagram and they could be 5 years old now and have an iPhone 14. And when I was growing up, I didn't even have a phone like when I was 6, 7.
Literally an iPod. Not even the iPod touches, like the iPod that just played music.
I remember like my phone was illegal, so I had to get a phone from Japan. Why was it illegal? Because like in America they didn't like want to introduce the Sony Ericsson like designs that were super cute because it would have like wiped out any other like ugly like Razr phone. And so like remember those like BlackBerry and like Razr phone days? So I had the coolest phone because I got it legally from Japan and like hacked it and like was using this really cute.
I hope they're not like listening to
you. You just called yourself out.
No, I mean this is like way back, right? Yeah. And then now, it's like the new technology is here. Like people don't realize you are living in like whatever you think it's gonna happen, you are going to be adapting to the blockchain because if not already.
Oh, 100%.
And you're not even going to know it.
Yeah, and
like
so like
now, when you build wallets, so these like Web3 wallets, you had to go through like building a seed phrase, like going through like, passwords, and it took like hours to set up. Now you can just like have a wallet where you just sign up with an email. Just like how you go shopping, like you sign up an email, and next thing you know, you're going to be doing that on the blockchain without even knowing.
Exactly, and like tying back into like these kids growing up, that's literally like they could be 5, 6 years old right now,
and learning how to do all that.
Yeah. And while we had no idea, do you know when the blockchain was created? 1956. 1956. It's been
and we're in 2020.
And we're in 2020 right now. So that means that this entire time it took I don't even know 50, 60, whatever years for even blockchain to be like quote unquote global right now.
But exactly how you said it, I think the word you use, adapt, is what it's gonna happen in life. We all have to adapt.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, 2 years ago, like, you know, that's when the whole NFT boom thing happened.
Right.
And then that was the first time, like, whoa, like Meta changed, you know,
Right.
Facebook changed its name to Meta.
But it's like some of us didn't even know that, because like honestly, when I look back on when NFTs came out, I'm like, I really didn't learn about that until this year. Like I would have thought it came out this year, but they've been out for a minute and people have been investing in all this for a minute. And it's like a lot of us just learn it later until we literally have to adapt to it.
Exactly. So what do you think about, I'm pretty sure you had like NFT companies reach out to you and promote and, you know, get.
I mean, in the beginning, it was like,
it was
I
just
don't know
left
if I
and
want
right.
to promote something I just don't know about, or like, what if it all falls? But now it seems like they're going. So maybe we need to start like getting on that.
Let's go.
Well, like right now, the reputation of social like influencers promoting NFT projects is like a money grab. That's their, you know, everyone is saying that now, because in 2020 when it was the bull run, legit you could just make a quick bag and leave and then you're gone.
Yeah, you can sell these like these weird images, like it take so quick to make, like 10,000 collection. You just like put it in a computer and then people made so much money. Like people just throwing money left and right. But
I mean,
now,
even as an influencer, like all of that, it's really a hit or miss, because it's like the people that jumped on TikTok right away and blew up, hit it. Yep. Or you like were scared, oh, this thing might not blow up, and then you miss your chance.
Did you get on TikTok when it transitioned, or were you on Musical.ly?
I was on Musical.ly, So everything like transitioned over. But like even like going back to the NFTs, like the people that took the chance in the beginning that were like, oh, maybe these things might not take off, they're killing it right now. Yeah. But all of us that were like, oh,
so maybe I want to tell you something about
that is a huge lesson that I think everybody should learn, is that if you don't take risk, then you never could change where you are now.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me find out if this is interesting to you. So we have something that I learned about from Robert Graham maybe like a month ago, that there's decentralized social media. And basically what decentralized social media is you own your content, you own the data of your content. And so say you post on a decentralized Twitter, quote unquote. Okay. So basically you'll make a post and you'll make money off the engagement of that post, and you own all of the rights. And so say there's another platform, you know how you go from TikTok and you had to try and get to Instagram and grow it and all these other platforms. What if you could take all of that data and you own it, and then you could go onto another platform and literally not start from zero and have all of that right here on the next platform?
It's like
I mean, that'd be crazy.
Like with the season 1 thing that you've been building. Imagine you don't need HBO anymore. Like you own your own content.
I mean, that'd be crazy.
And that's what's happening right now. I feel like
that's the next level.
That's what's happening right now.
Yeah.
So there's a website app called Diamond, and that's literally happening right now.
So you just like everything transitions over basically.
Yeah, basically you basically can post and then you make tokens off of the post. It's called social tokens, and those social tokens can convert into real money, and it's great. It blew my mind as an influencer. I was like, hold on. I can own my own data, and I actually am making money off of just my engagement. We post on social media, we do all of this work, but we have to find so many ways to monetize off of this work that we do. But what if the work is that we're doing is already making us money?
Let's go.
Insane. I mean, that's for the next generation. Everyone should start hopping on that.
And people don't realize that even now through Coco NFT, you can mint your actual Instagram post into an NFT.
What?
So you don't even have to do the artwork.
I did not know that.
You literally can turn your Instagram post, whatever you like, into an NFT.
Wow.
Because it's at the end of the day,
so you're investing in yourself. Asset. You're investing in your social media, everything.
Exactly. So to end this, it's been great. It's been Tati.
So much fun.
You've had so many, good inspirational quotes that you've said.
Thank you.
It hits. It hits. So what is some tips you want to share with everyone right now about how and just moving forward in life? You have these kids that could be watching right now, and that's been watching you, been watching us. What is something that you want to tell everyone right now?
Yeah, I mean, social media is not real life. Let's start with that. Only you can do it, and I feel like staying true to yourself is so important. It's so important. Like I said, going back to even where I'm at now, remembering where I come from, remembering that my family's first, and that I'm a normal human being is, you know, important, because also life can feel not real at times. Maybe it's just me, maybe it's everyone, but life can feel not real. But you also have to be so grateful for this life. Because like I said, you only live once, and this life is so freaking beautiful. Like, just take a moment, sit down, go outside, look at the trees, look at the earth, look at everything, nature, that, you know, we're just blessed to live this life. And, you know, anyone, anything can be taken or gone tomorrow. So.
Love that. Wow.
Powerful.
Thank you so much, Tati.
Thank you guys for having me. This was fun.
Mango out.
Got me
Bye.
out.
Bye.